I think we've got a problem. Finally got a break from the cold weather. It's 50 degrees today. I think temperatures have been below freezing for a few weeks, so it's a nice break. However, it is raining. And it looks like winter has not been too nice to the FJ so far. Got a little bit of a leak right there. Right off, I'm not too sure where it's coming from, but I do suspect that it's from the aftermarket roof rack. It was installed before I purchased it, so I'm not sure how well it was sealed to the roof, although I think it's been on there for a long time, so I wouldn't think it's too bad, but that's my guess. The way I see it, we have three options of where it's coming from. It could be from the roof rack, could be from the windshield, which has been replaced. I don't know how long ago that was. That was before I bought it, but it's not the original windshield. Or it could be from the seal on the door. So we'll have to dig into this a little further. I don't have time right now, but I definitely need to get to it sooner rather than later. So let's fast forward a few days and get her ripped apart. All right, we're back at it out in the garage here again, trying to figure out why the roof on this bad boy's leaking. As you just saw, the driver, there was some water coming on the driver's side headliner at the top of the A-pillar. So I gotta figure that out before that ruins something. It's either gonna ruin the headliner or ruin the airbag in the pillar if it doesn't done so already. So we gotta get that taken care of. Now the first thing I'm gonna do is take the racks off. My suspicion is that it's coming from the bolt holes at the roof racks. I didn't install these, the previous owner did, so I'm not really sure what he did for waterproofing or sealing them against the roof. So I'm going to pull those off, and we're going to pull out these pieces of filler material that's in the channels on the edge of the roof here. So we got this gutter and then this little filler that's in it. We're going to pull that out, and we're just going to take a look at what's underneath there, because I don't know right now. I've never had one of these apart. So these racks, the front one it seems to be coming off all right. The back one I'm having some trouble with. So basically we've got this lock right here, so you can lock the bars on so nobody can take them. And you unlock that, and then you pull down this handle part, and that pulls in a couple little cams that tie into the cleats that are bolted to the roof. The front ones came off all right, but the rear ones just don't seem to want to go. So I'm gonna have to try to figure out what to do to get that off. Up until now, I thought these were a great setup. Not so much. Well, if these rear ones weren't leaking before, they should now. Let's see how much it costs to replace one of these. Maybe I'll just take the Sawzall to it. Not cheap. Not as cheap as I'd like. $195 for a set of 4. No thank you. I will keep working on this. Alright, one side down, onto the other. I will be greasing the crap out of these with silicone paste when they go back on. So we've got the cleats off. Those are just a Allen head bolt, and there's a little gasket underneath there. And then you can see underneath that, there's this little aluminum block here. And it looks like there's a gasket sandwiched between that and the roof. So pulled that one off, and I pulled the other one off back here so we can pull off this trim piece, because I want to see if it looks like there was water sitting underneath there. This thing just pulls out. It's kind of held in by a friction fit. Yeah, looks like some good buildup down on this end. So I'd say probably there was some water, potentially some water ponding down there. especially if we had ice build up along the edge of here, and then some of it melted and got down in through there. And if we look at this piece right here, you can see it's pretty warped. I don't know if that's from being clamped down on the ends here and here, or if it's just from baking in the sun that it got warped. I will see if I can hunt down a different one of those, because it was sticking up just a little bit right here. So I don't know if water was maybe running down and getting in there where it wouldn't have been an issue otherwise, but I don't know. So I guess I'll just keep digging. I'll pull this piece out next, and we'll take a look at what's down in there, make sure nothing looks too off down there before I go pulling these off, because this gasket that's underneath here I'll probably need to replace if I pull it off, because it's been on there for so long. Alright, we're in a little different state than the last time I left off. You can see the interior is pretty well disassembled, so that I could check out underneath the headliner. I didn't totally remove it, just because it can be a pain in the butt, and I'm in a garage right now, so I didn't really have the room to move it somewhere else. But we popped it down just enough. If you want to see how I did that, I'll make another video down in the description. That's going to be a very technical video, so I don't think it really goes well with this video. Now that we got this down, I used a mirror, an inspection mirror, kind of put it along the edge here on the driver's side, because the driver's side's leaking. But I did both sides, and I couldn't see anything that was really sticking out like a sore thumb. So it actually happens to be raining outside right now. So I'm just going to put this weather stripping back on the door and get everything. I'm not going to put the headliner back up, but I'm going to get everything ready to go outside so that I can park this outside for a couple hours. And after a couple hours, I'll come back out and check it and see if I can see where there's any leaks going on. So I think that's going to be the best course of action right now. So I left the FJ out in the rain for a couple hours. I couldn't find water coming in anywhere other than a little bead that was dripping down on the inside of the windshield glass right here. It was dripping right down an open piece of sheet metal. So that, I'm gonna just assume, I guess, that the water's coming in from this top corner of the windshield here, and not from anywhere here back. So if we climb up on top, you can see that I've got the rain gutter channels out of here, and you can really see it up here. Now there's some seam sealer between two pieces of metal, and that's cracked all the way down. Another video I saw on YouTube, I'll put the link down in the description. This was the guy's problem. This is why his roof is leaking, because this seam opened up right here and water was seeping in through there. I've tried to replicate the leak and it's a little difficult. So I'm going to seal up this crack in the rain gutter here, and we'll see if that solves the problem. If it doesn't, then we're going to have to dig even deeper, which I really don't want to do. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, beyond that, it could be these bolt holes for the roof rack, which I'm really thinking it isn't, because, like I said, I left it out in the rain and I was only finding water underneath where all the trim and the headliner used to be, right in this area. So I take it must have been dripping down, feeding onto the headliner, coming back this way, because I don't know if I mentioned yet, but when the windshield was replaced previously, some of the sealant that they use was actually glued right into the headliner, so they used a little too much, and the headliner was basically glued to the windshield, so if any water came down, it would come down between the metal and the glass, feed on top of the headliner, then run across the headliner. Like I said, other than that, it could be this, which I don't think it is, or it could be the weather stripping around the door, which does appear to be in good shape, so I don't think it's that either. even with the silicone in the roof gutter, I'm still getting a little bit of water coming in. So I think that solved a good amount of the problem, but I need to figure out where the rest is coming in. And right now I'm running a garden hose over a few spots to check if those spots are where the water's coming in. And I'm trying to run it in isolated areas. So for example, the spot I'm running right now, you can see is isolated in front of the front roof rack mount. And it's only getting this corner of the windshield and right down the A-pillar here. So if there's any water coming in the next few minutes, I know it'll be from this area. It won't be from anything else. If I don't get water coming in here, I'll periodically move the hose around. So do the same thing on the other side. I'll move the hose in back of the roof rack mount, see if water comes in then. I'll run it down the door, see if the door seal's leaking. I'll probably run it along the cowl panel here. Just a few other places to check for water. Not sure how visible this video is going to be, but we're going to call the FJ roof leak saga complete. All finished, got it sealed up, we're good. This is the last spot that I had to seal up, was the passenger side. And I didn't even know this was leaking until I took off the A-pillar covers on the inside. All I knew was that the driver's side was leaking, but it turns out this side was leaking too, but it just was leaking inside the pillar cover and dripping down and draining out somewhere, rather than showing up on the headliner like the driver's side was. So what the problem ended up being was a seam right in the rain gutter. If we come inside the vehicle, the spot where I noticed it leaking on the passenger side was between a couple of pieces of sheet metal here. So the water was coming down from the roof, staying in between these two pieces, and traveling down into the dash. And maybe it was draining somewhere, or maybe it was just ending up underneath the floor mat. I'm not really sure. But either way, we've got it sealed up now, and we should be good to go for a while. So there's a seam right on the outside edge of the rain gutter, right in the bottom here, where two pieces of sheet metal come together, and I assume the factory used seam sealer to seal that up. Well, over time the seam sealer cracked, came apart, and started leaking, and that ended up being the problem here. So I ended up pulling off all of the rain gutter channels that are along the roof here. I put a thin bead of clear silicone all the way down that seam where it was cracking, and even where it wasn't cracking yet, because I assume it will eventually crack, even in the spots where it was not cracked. And that seems to have taken care of the problem, as far as I can tell with testing with the garden hose. If the problem comes back, I'll be sure to update this, but as of now, we're going to call this complete. Thanks for watching.